Every day, I think women realize how much labor they're doing for men that's not paid. Seriously, I want to cover this amazing breakdown I saw because it's such good advice, because so many women, or anybody who's raised as a woman, conditioned to do this. I promise you, you're still probably enabling men. I mean, this is gonna take, I'll be figuring this out till the day I die. But I saw these great examples because I want us to think about this in every aspect of our life. To decenter these king babies who expect everything for free. Really everything. Everything. So this was in response to this tweet that says, whenever decentering men comes up, it seems like there's a lot of women who don't know what that means or what it might actually look like. What are some ways, big or small, that women can practice decentering men? Do y'all have examples of ways you've worked towards this? So before I get into the thread of little ways we can do this, even with strangers, because we're doing this labor for complete strangers. She says, I think not living with male partners is a huge way women can decenter men. Our domestic lives are an area where women tend to get sucked into patriarchal performance. Don't assume because you love a man or date a man that living with him is the best next step. People have asked me to talk about this, about what I think about living with a man if you're not married to him. I've seen it work out, but I think it's a bad idea. The reason why I say that is because of all the things that I've seen women talk about and what I've seen women in my own life go through. Most of them had tried that with someone and got screwed so bad they said, never again. I will never live with a man unless I am married to him, because the way that they lost so much money, everything they poured into that house, into managing that house, into all the labor they did for him, they got nothing for that when they broke up. There's obviously some disadvantages of marriage, especially if you have more money than him. But you can also figure that out in terms of like getting real precise with law stuff. But in general, it doesn't work out for women. What are you doing? He's like, ugh, here we go again. He's gonna go to sleep. Every single one of those who lived with a man and it didn't work out, they realized they lost, years, 5, 7, 10 or more years of their life, and they get none of it back because they're not compensated for any of it. Because this is what men do. This is what men are gonna do. Don't think they're not gonna do this if you're married. So you have to fight really hard within a marriage to make sure that he doesn't just keep pushing you to do stuff. I promise you, there's so many ways, a lot of this is very intentional, but there's so many ways that men don't even realize that they are just assuming you're going to do things. So it's possible to decenter men within a marriage, which means decentering your in-laws, taking priority, decentering all the ways they do it. What time they wake up, what time they go sleep, their hobbies, their habits, what they want to eat. Literally, it comes out in so many ways when you date men. And when you live with them, it is going to be very subtle at first, and you have to stay on top of it. You have to push back. You have to fight for your right to center yourself. Even, I did a video earlier, Dr. Gabor Mate, oh God, I hope I said that right. He said that his wife fought to make sure he did not do that. Like, he admits, like men are just conditioned to be this. If they're not working on unpacking that entitlement, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. I've talked about this before. Anthony and I are both deconstructing patriarchy within ourselves and within our relationship. It doesn't show up that much, but it's like a whack-a-mole. Whack, whack, there it is, whack, right? So we have to stay on top of it, because you're not just gonna like unlearn decades of indoctrination like that. So let's start off strong. This is the thread. I loved this thread. I think this is a great breakdown of ways. I like to be solution-based, okay? I talk about a lot of problems, but I always try to have some little element of hope or solutions based in it. Otherwise, we're all just gonna like want to die. Like what? Like, if there's no hope, what is the point of fighting anything? I have a lot of things I can add as a recovering people pleaser. Hello, me too. I thrive in relationships. The giver, right? We all know that I'm not an I thrive in relationships person. I have never said that until this relationship, because I've literally been glowing up in it, which most women age in relationships. These men will age you, and the glow ups usually come after the divorce. I had a serious glow up after my ex. I've shown pictures of that. Let me know if you want to see him again. Anyway, and also understand that some ways we center men are for survival and can't be omitted without danger, right? Always want to add that little context because, yeah, sometimes we're just smiling and doing that stuff because we don't want to take the risk that day that this man might murder us. With that said, the easiest single step you can take is to stop offering men help, all caps. Now, before I get into this, an extreme example of this, I've covered this before, is when the college student raised $400,000 for Unk on TikTok. That homeless man who ended up having violence against women. Like there was a video of him beating a woman, another homeless woman while she was asleep or unhoused. He had been convicted, I think, of stabbing someone in the throat or whatever. He didn't have a driver's license. Whenever men don't have a driver's license, just assume that it's because they are wanted for something. Child support, something, right? And this man had several sisters, I think 5, and none of them would talk to them. So if there's a man who needs help, let men help him. Let men help him. Because that same energy is almost never or rarely put it, like how often have you seen $400,000 being raised for an unhoused woman? I can't think of any. But and you know it was women who are probably donating to that, just throwing money. Save Unk, save Unk. I'm surprised that, first of all, she spent so much of her own money taking care of that man. And now she's giving all the money back because whatever, it's a long saga. But don't assume because he's a man, especially if he's an old man. Those men are dangerous. I've already did a video on that. Most of the most dangerous men I've ever encountered in my life were old men that I underestimated. So really question yourself when you feel bad for a man, whatever age. Would you do that for a woman? That should be your litmus test. Would I do this for a woman? And why am I not doing it for a woman, but I'm willing to do it for a man? Because you even see this on TikTok, on YouTube. The men will talk about domestic violence and have millions of followers, make a ton of money, literally talking about the lived experiences of women and our trauma. And those of us who've actually been through some of these experiences, when we talk about it, we get the fraction of the views. We don't get compensated financially hardly. And then like Robbie Harvey, if you're following that man, please stop. He calls himself a recovered blah, whatever. But he makes a fortune talking about domestic violence against women. I cannot stand that man. I spent so long talking about him a year ago when all that nonsense came up. If you are following and supporting and commenting and giving watch time hours to men talking about feminism, you need to stop. Follow women instead. There's a few exceptions. There's a few exceptions, and those men are talking to men. They're not pandering to women. Don't let these men exploit your hope. So stop helping men on the internet build their platforms because you just really want there to be good men, because most of those men are hitting on women. I've stopped following most of them because I've seen screenshots of what they're doing to some of my mutuals. One of these men who's like all about intersectional feminism wanted me, is with somebody, talks about how great she is. That man was trying to get me to cheat on my husband. He DM'd me and I was like, what are you flirting with me? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm married. And he's like, so? Unfollowed. Don't trust men talking about women's issues. The men who are talking to men and calling in and trying to help men, not the ones who are shaming men, because those men are actually pandering to women. So what does this look like if you're not a content creator? Start with the contents of your purse. This is so big, y'all. To men you do not know in the wild. They do not need your tissues, your lotion. There is a method to this madness. At work, same. Close your purse. Close your attentiveness to their comfort level. Sit with that one. Your attentiveness to their comfort level. Take inventory of every time you stop what you are doing to accommodate a man's lack of preparation. Seriously, take inventory. It'll scare you. I don't think women realize just how much your purse creates more labor for you. Now, I'm not saying don't carry a purse. I'm saying stop giving men things out of your purse. Literally just Saturday night, I was having pizza with my friend Nina in a park. And a man sitting in a group of people stood up and walked over to us and asked us for a tissue. My friend was like, handed him a used one and was like, this is all I have. And he was like, no thanks. And I was like, yeah, I don't have any. You know what? I did have one. I had a whole pack in my purse, but I'm not giving it to anyone anymore unless it's a woman. Unless it's a woman. Or basically just not a man. I'm not giving men tissues anymore. Carry your own tissue, bro. Carry a purse. In fact, not only does Anthony carry a purse, he carries my purse for me because I have ADHD and it is full of ridiculous things I don't need that I forget are in there. Sometimes I'm afraid it's a doom box. It's a portable doom box. My ADHD or neuro spicy people out there, you know what a doom box is. I've always been that way. Before I started carrying a purse, I carried doom totes. So whatever you're asking me for, I probably have in there. Whether it is a set of AA batteries or, you know, a bungee cord. Like, I have no idea why most of the stuff is in my purse, but most likely if you ask me for something, it's there. But I don't even open it. I don't even look. I'm like, no, sorry. And this guy was very cute too. And I was like, maybe he's doing that to hit on us. No. In fact, so there's a group of, we call them the teenagers. Some of them are teenagers. Some of them are probably in the early 20s. But there's a group of men who sell right outside our apartment. And, you know, we want to be in good terms with them, right? Maybe I'll tell the story of the teenagers and all the drama with them on my Patreon. By the way, join my Patreon. Join my Patreon. I'm supposed to tell you to join the Patreon in case you didn't know. There's also a free membership if you can't afford it because I do update people over there with stuff that I forget to tell y'all here. Link in the description. I have a live coming on Sunday with Therese for the top 2 tiers, so whatever. Do you. So, but I will say that these teenagers, I'm in good terms with them because you don't want to be on bad terms with them. They kind of run the neighborhood and they always ask me for tissues. One guy asked me for a hair tie and I gave him a hair tie. I happen to have, of course, I have random stuff in my pockets. I don't carry my purse when I walk the dog, but I have stuff in my pocket. And now I should have never given him a hair tie because he asked me for them all the time now. He even asked me if he could have the one in my hair when I was walking the dog and I didn't have one in my pocket. And I was like, I have created a monster. Like, you give them a cookie and they want a glass of milk. I was even sitting on the balcony working and he was like, Madame, and asked me for a tissue from my house to throw at him. And then when I said I didn't have any, I think I said I don't understand. I love saying, no, j'ai pas compris. He saw Anthony in here and he asked Anthony to come outside. And I was like, what? Why? He's like, can you ask your son if he has a tissue? You're never getting a tissue from me again. You're never getting anything from me again. This man is 5 years younger than me and he thinks that I'm his mother. Oh God. Like asking me for things and insulting me. The kid, he's a sweet kid. But I'm not enabling his unpreparedness anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? I didn't realize till I read that tweet how often men ask me for tissues and I haven't been giving it to them, but I didn't really know why, and that's why. Why don't you carry your own tissues? If you do give them a tissue, give them a used one. That'll learn them. Under no circumstance do you announce you're not doing this. That's key, y'all. Don't say, I'm not doing that because you're la 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 la. Honestly, I have learned the hard way to stop just explaining what I'm doing all the time. I don't owe these men an answer. It's okay to lie. If they ask you if you have one, no. This is instances where it's actually better to lie. Don't be like, well, you know what? I help men so much and I've realized that I'm going to stop. One of my old mentors said, Melanie, you over-explaining your nose to people makes them not take your nose seriously. Because when you do that, they start to see the crack in the facade. If you say, no, I'm not doing that, and then you're like, well, it's because of this and this and this and this, they're going to realize that you are not confident in your no. And that no can be overturned pretty quickly. Because the fact that you need to explain it, you need to justify it so that they'll accept it, means that you are easily going to be flipped into a yes. I was so proud of myself for saying no to putting up a climb that I wasn't comfortable on because I didn't want to put people in danger because I didn't know how to set the anchors for that climb. And I said no, and instead of just saying no, I said all this stuff, and my mentor was like, like, good job saying no, stop explaining it. Remember the teacher had that sign on the desk that says no is a complete sentence? Stop saying no, I don't want to thanks anymore because like I'm afraid I'm gonna, just say no. I know, nuanced conversation. I'm not saying be a jerk. If this is with your husband and you keep saying, you probably want to explain, this is you putting labor on me. But with strangers, people at work, whatever, just say, no, sorry. Don't explain it. Just stop and take notice of every time you jump when a man announces he's in need, especially when he doesn't announce it, but you notice his need and felt the urge to fill it. So remember how I talked last week about how men, like that man who was trying to get a woman to pay off his debt and was like, yeah, I just thought I'd tell you I have all this debt. Just put it out there. Men are so smart, y'all. Even when they're dumb as rocks, little pecker's got a brain in it. And what they're very good at is exploiting. Like a predator, they're like, where's the weak one? Where's the weak one? How can I get what I need? It's like survival for them. Instead of actually unpacking patriarchy and dealing with any of that and making, I don't know, working on themselves and becoming a better human, they just get better and better at preying on women. And now they're just like, I can't just announce I need her to do. Or if they don't announce it, they'll just be like, they know a woman's going to come and swoop in and save the day. And the fact that men think that they're some hero that we're waiting on, when they literally are the menace. They're the forking bear, right? They are where's my puppet? This is them, right? With their podcast, red pill, whatever. They literally are the threat, the biggest threat to us. Right? And they have the audacity to think that they save the day. They swoop in and save the day when we know it is women who are swooping in and saving them all the time. And the less we save them, the more they're going to have to either A, just die from not getting their natural their needs met, because the more women this is a team sport, y'all. Team sport. Do your part. Use your codependency for a good thing. I don't even, it's not even codependency, but if you're codependent, you know what I mean. I won't do something for me, but I'll do it for someone else. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I literally use that with my, I'll be like, okay, this man's being ridiculous. I don't know, I don't want to say. And I'm like, wait a second. Yo, I know he's going to do this to another woman, and then I'll stand up to him. Then I will, right? I will stand up for someone else when I won't stand up for myself, right? These men know. They're fake. They know they can't outright ask for help sometimes. Sometimes they'll just announce something, and then they'll just be the fumbling, bumbling, oops, I don't know how to operate this, ooh. And they know we're going to swoop in and save them. The less we do that, the more they have to be forced to rely on their own labor. Because I promise you, men ain't going to come in and help them. And like Grandpa, who died of a broken heart when Grandma died, they will keep trying to find someone else to replace Grandma, whatever, this is a metaphor. Or they will just be so lazy, they die. Or they will take the lesson and learn to take care of themselves. Men count on this from women. Any woman, stranger women, it does not matter. Women are socialized to leap to fill a man, any man's need. Really, put it in your notes on your phone. Write down every time you either catch yourself helping a man or are asked to be helped. Keep track of the times you succeed at being like no, and then the other, keep track. Because once you, just like with finances, just like with anything, once you start to see how much this adds up to, it's probably going to horrify you, and that'll motivate you to stop doing it. It's why so many saw nothing when, I think she meant wrong, with a female student taking out a male teacher's braids. He had a need, they filled it. What's the issue? Now, for reference, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this teacher, was constantly going live and having only girls, you never saw boys doing this, doing his hair. Now, as a white woman, my commentary on this is probably not welcome and not necessary. There's so much nuance in this conversation. But I have been seeing so many amazing takes on just inappropriate behavior of teachers, and I think it raised so many great points, and also conversations around grooming, just lots of really great conversations. So you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the reference here. But I will say this is a really great example of expected labor from women and girls, and that's assuming that there was nothing more happening there. I don't think kids should be touching their teacher in any way whatsoever. It's why that woman asked, y'all don't do laundry in the talking stage, and was dead ass. He has a need, she fills it. What's the issue? It shows what a superior woman she is, anticipating and filling need. I've said this before, I don't do Anthony's laundry. Not as his wife, not as his girlfriend. If anything, he does my laundry. I mean, we usually do our own laundry, but the other day, he noticed that I was really stressed out from work and forgot to hang mine, and he hung it for me to make my life easier. But women who are auditioning for marriage by being like, oh, look how good of a partner I would be. Don't audition. You're not a used car. You're not a used car. You don't need to like try to sell yourself to him, to his mother-in-law. Definitely don't be doing anything when you meet the parents the first time. I have a lot to say about that. That's a separate video. Once you take note of how often you do this, yes, even you, progressive woman, we all do it, y'all. This is like a trauma response and socialization and all that stuff. You will be shocked at the cumulative energy expenditure. This is how you make it to the end of the day. So decision fatigue, you don't know what to do, what to eat, or even if you're hungry. Oh, is this why there's girl dinner? Y'all remember that trend? You know, Lauren, my coach, if you go under the lives in my categories, we did an amazing live a couple weeks ago. And I think we touched on this and that. She was my creativity coach. She really helped me learn how to set boundaries around my work and all kinds of stuff because I was just about to burn out. I still am, but she at least gave me some tools, and now it's about me implementing all of them. But decision fatigue, she talked a lot about this, and it never occurred to me that men are contributing to this. Your creativity, your just being able to take care of yourself, you will have more energy for that the less of all this crap you do. This stuff adds up. The next step, though, harder to do, is to read up on executive function theft. Okay, I'm afraid to read up on all that. I'm just gonna hit up a little of it right now. Let me know if you want me to deep dive into that and really go into that. And take inventory on how many multi-step tasks you pack up before the men in your life so that they are only responsible for the last step of it. Ow! Oh, here we go. Multi-step tasks are handed right back to women daily. They will give her the task of the steps, then come in to be delegated the first step of the task, then act like they're doing something. Oh! An example, making the appointments and doing all the check-ins so all he has to do is drive there. So that means, what are you doing? You're checking the calendar, checking your group calendar or whatever, looking up an appointment, making the appointment, putting it in the calendar, reminding him of his appointment, and then all he has to do is walk. You probably remind him to bring his insurance papers on the way out the door too. All of that takes up so much of your time. For example, groceries. You run inventory, you assemble a list, you give aisle directions, provide alternate choices, you put stuff away and in order for expiration. They still act like the final step of going to the store and picking the food out of the shelf is a Herculean task. Look what I did, Mommy. I'm a big boy. Mind you, these people will like manage a whole team at work, and then they're like, how do I do that? They know how to do it, they don't want to. And then return with the wrong. So you end up having to do that too. And we all know that this is weaponized incompetence we've been talking about for a long time. But sometimes people really need specific examples of this. There's a whole thread on, what is it, like on Oh, what is that thing where you get groceries? Instacart. I actually worked for Instacart when I first moved to LA. I was desperate for any job. That was the worst job. I quit after a couple weeks because I spent more money in gas. It was so not worth, but it was also very time consuming because people would order the most specific things, and unlike a lot of men, I made sure I got the right thing. Whereas there's like a whole like joke about how men will literally not only pick the wrong thing, they will wildly get off course. And then they know that you're not going to be like, ugh. They're just lazy. Even when they're getting paid to shop, they won't do it right because they know that the effort is going to take you to have to return the stuff, go get it yourself, whatever. You'll just be like, whatever. And now you've lost money, are pissed, and this man has wasted not only your time, but your money. And then you got to sit with all that energy of the resentment and frustration, which derails you from being able to get on with your day. It's why I want to help, but just tell me what to do isn't helping. You've only relieved her of one step of a multi-step decision task. Then, once she is decision fatigued to the point where she can't tell you if she is hungry or not, you act like she is dramatic for not needing help being fed. Sorry, for needing help being fed. This is why the joke makes me so angry. There's a whole series of jokes of men just being like, why can't women just tell us what you want to eat? What do you want to, it's like, because we have been doing so much all day, we don't fucking care. We don't care. We don't even know what we want, how to ask for it, if we even need to eat a little or a lot, because we can't make any more freaking decisions. The best thing you can do as a man, if you are reading this, is ask if there's anyone in your life that delegates. As in, do they neatly pack up a task for you so the task takes one step? And then a lot of times they still won't even do that one step. And you're like, great. Now I got to do this all over again. And now I got to call the doctor and be like, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of times these men's tasks are tied to us and our image and our relationships. Like, image is one thing, but our relationships to the community. And when they mess these up, we have to go on an apology tour to make sure we maintain, Another example, laundry is handed to you sorted, grocery list made so you never know what y'all are low on, job application set up for you to click and send, kids weekend sports scheduled already on a calendar, birthday cards bought for you to sign. I would love to know how many men plan birthday parties for their children. Like, do any of it other than go to the grocery and pick up the things that she's ordered. I swear, I learned so much from my friends having kids and birthday parties. Holy cow. So much goes into that. And with the parents, the invitations, the theme, the cake, the decorations, where, which date, finding out who's coming. And then they give birthday bags too. A bag of random toys, because even like the kids who's it's not their birthday, they get gifts too. Like, it's a lot. Look, he looks like he's like flying. Another example, sorry, I skipped this one. Not just the laundry, he's got to separate and fold it, doing the house inventory, making the shopping list, putting the items away once he got them, adjusting his incorrect purchases. Also, I learned a lot from videos around like Mother's Day and stuff. It's like, whatever, if you're going to, or just in general, if you're going to buy her flowers, take it out of the thing, put it in a vase with water in it, cut the whatever. Like, they literally just create work for women even when they buy gifts. Like, men being incapable. Not incapable, unwilling to complete the whole task this is what we've been talking about. This is what we mean. You talk about things, we ask you if you've done it, you don't do it, so then there's a huge problem, and then we have to swoop in and do it anyway. Or if you do it, you do everything but this one last thing. Literally, oh my God, I'm getting worked up. If he owns the task, he owns all steps in it. Again, much harder to execute. It's more important that you take inventory of when you do this rather than trying to stop it outright. You may not be in the position to. The point here is to take inventory of all the invisible ways you can consider men in your daily life. This will help you build the muscle for the stuff higher on the pyramid. It might also make you hate men. I'm so sorry. I think that's a really good place to start. So for all the people who follow me who aren't dating men and are doing 4B, like celibacy journey, whatever it is you're doing, I promise you're still doing labor for men in your daily life unless you literally never see them because they try to force you to do it. Or start taking an inventory of all of the things you watch, the TV shows, the things you read, the content you watch online. Decenter men from the things you consume, right? Especially if they are pandering to women and making money off of hating men and trying, and like those men don't care about you. Those men are literally exploiting your hope and your trauma and your desperate need for there to be a good one, rather than realizing they're all on the pecker spectrum. They're all on the king baby, homosexual, gold digging spectrum. The same way white people have to acknowledge that we're racist. Okay? It's okay, you can say it. Right? We have to unlearn all the ways we've been conditioned to exploit labor, to dehumanize, to all the things, right? If I can be on that journey of really trying to see it in every way and try to unlearn this thinking and conditioning and all this crap that I did not choose to learn but was forced on me through the media, you can do that with men, and men should be doing that for themselves. So I rarely watch movies that are written by men or directed by men anymore. TV show content, the only men that I follow content-wise is if their stuff is not pandering to women and not making money off of our trauma and exploitation. Oh my God, look at that. I think he wants a Kong. It's usually when he's like starts creeping up on me that he wants a Kong. Anyway, start noticing where your money, your energy, your labor, your attention, your decision making, your helping that need to help people, where it's going. The more I notice it, it terrifies me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not here to help men anymore. They've never helped me. Why are we helping them? Not unless they pay me, or a really, really good friend or trusted person who pours into me as much as I would pour into them. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Join the Patreon, and comment, share, all the things. Like, make sure you're subscribed because YouTube keeps unsubscribing people without them knowing. Set notifications so you don't miss my stuff. And watch out for all the hobosexuals. Et voila!